Calaroga Shark Media.
Hello, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. Let me just tell you, there's so much going on. This is another one of those days where there's like 7 things that could be the lead story. Some things normally would be the lead story, and I'm bouncing them to tomorrow. What's an example? David Letterman's going to have Adam Sandler on, but we'll get to that tomorrow. I got to tell you what Dave Chappelle had to say, and we got to talk about this Riyadh Comedy Festival. But I wanted to start with Matthew Davidson. Matthew Davidson became a firefighter in 1994 with ladder company 118. Scott was on duty on September 11th, 2001, and he died in the line of duty that day. His son, Pete Davidson, is performing tonight at the Riyadh Comedy Festival. Pete Davidson spoke about this with Theo Vaughn on the This Past Weekend podcast. Pete had this to say, I'm going to quote it verbatim. I've been getting a little bit of slack just because my dad died 9/11, so they're like, how could you possibly go there? I've heard there's subreddits of, I think all these people are in bed with being influenced by the Saudi royal family. I just, I get the flight routing and then I see the number and I go, I'll go. Pajiba writes, is there something to be said for Pete Davidson's radical honesty? I mean, no, they say, not really. It's the same reason every other comedian who accepted is going. They're selling out for the Saudi royal family. By the way, Bill Burr did not help himself at all. People have not reacted well to Bill Burr's comments. Here, you can hear them on yesterday's podcast. Pajiba writes, they're selling out for the Saudi royal family, and while they like to claim it's just another gig, it's not. Again, they're being paid vast sums of money so that Saudi Arabia might be thought of as a destination for popular comedy instead of the country that engages in forced labor and executes journalists. The comedy festival is literally being promoted on Saudi Arabia's tourism page. If you can't make it to Riyadh, Pete Davidson will be in Berlin on the 5th. Then he's hitting Amsterdam, London, Dublin, and then Belfast on October 10th. If you're in town in Riyadh this weekend, you can not only see Pete Davidson, you can see Marc Maron, who pairs tight writing with fearless wordplay. Fearless wordplay. Go for it, Mark. Fearless wordplay, spinning anxiety, language quirks, and everyday awkwardness into big laughs. Look forward to that fearless wordplay at the Riyadh Comedy Festival, Marc Maron. Mark and Sam were recently on Greg Fitzsimmons' podcast. They talked about the festival. Let's listen.
You're both going to Saudi Arabia?
A lot of comics are going.
Really?
It's a big festival. It's
no women.
Jess Kirsten's going.
Oh, she is?
Yeah.
Oh, all right, great. They got one.
She can't do any facial jokes because she'll have that wrap around her head.
One of the rules is I can't kiss my wife in public.
Really?
Are you bringing her?
Yeah, I'm going to bring her.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, just to show her how
Can I
good
kiss
she's
your wife
got
in
it.
public?
And then Mark told a joke that I looked at it. I'm like, I don't even know how I would possibly clean this up. So I'm quite paraphrasing here. But Mark said he joked with his wife saying, you think I'm a jerkhole? And then he said, they will. And then he used a very vulgar term for a female circumcision. I don't know how I would clean that up. I couldn't figure out an edit. Dave Chappelle. We found out what he said. I'm sourcing here from both The Hollywood Reporter and The New York Times. But when Dave Chappelle played the Riyadh Comedy Festival last Saturday, Chappelle, if nothing else, always interesting. Chappelle said, right now in America, they say if you talk about Charlie Kirk, then you'll get canceled. I don't know if that's true, but I'm going to find out. Which is a very Chappelle-like thing, right? Like I could picture, I'm just reading the transcript here, but I could see Chappelle doing but I'm going to find out, and doing that thing where he mugs for the camera and slaps his knee. You could see Dave doing that, right? I don't know if that's true, but I'm going to find out. Chappelle later said that he feared returning to the United States because they're going to do something to me so that I can't say what I want to say. So here's Dave Chappelle in Saudi Arabia claiming that he's being censored in America. Is there evidence of Dave Chappelle being censored in America? If there is, I'd love to hear it. My email address is in the show notes. You could shoot me a note. I'm happy to be wrong here. I personally, I can't think of any. I'm really trying to think. Did SNL tell him to lay off something? I can't remember. Okay, I want to be fair here. This is from Deadline, February 16, 2025. The headline, Dave Chappelle says SNL producers forbade him from talking about Gaza and trans people. So this Deadline piece is talking about how SF Gates Dan Gentili saw Dave Chappelle at the first of his 3 San Francisco stand-up appearances. Chappelle alleged he was not allowed to speak about Gaza and transgender people. NBC did not immediately respond to a request for comment. I'm not sure they ever gave a comment. So that's not censoring free speech. That's SNL saying, that's not what we do here. Like, for example, If I booked Mike Chisholm from the Letterman podcast, you've heard me talk with Mike. We clearly get along. If Mike, for some reason, came on here on my show and, I don't know, went into some sort of crazy hate speech, I don't know why Mike would do this, because that's not his personality. But if he did, I would choose not to air it. I'm not taking away his right to say it. He can walk around Canada all he wants. He can come down to Seattle and yell into the streets. I don't care. But I would choose not to have it on my show. So SNL telling Chappelle, chill out, to me, is different than Chappelle saying he fears returning to the United States because they're going to do something to me, so I can't say what I want to say. Again, Chappelle's been flying this flag that he's being censored, and I don't see it. Chappelle joked if he is censored, he'll use a code phrase, and I think this material is the same that he did in the San Francisco shows, if I'm remembering correctly. Chappelle said, it's got to be something I'd never say in practice, so if I actually say it, you'll know never to listen to anything I say after that. Here's the phrase, I stand with Israel. Next up, Louis C.K., a performer at the Riyadh Comedy Festival, is going to do Bill Maher's show, but I'm confused here. I believe that appearance is tonight, but the media is reporting fresh off his performance at the Riyadh Comedy Festival, CK will be on Bill Maher, but CK's date at the Riyadh Comedy Festival is not till October 6th, and today is October 3rd. So something is crossed there. So if you watch Bill Maher tonight and CK's not on, don't blame me. But I think he's on tonight. HBO announced the booking on Thursday. So that should be all sorts of interesting. I'll see so assuming that's tonight, I'm not going to stay up till 1 a.m, put out a Saturday episode. And I was already planning on recording Monday on Sunday so I can cover SNL. So I'll probably deal with that on Monday's episode, just being honest. In other news, things that would normally be story number 1, Nikki Glaser has announced a new special for Hulu, which is Disney Plus, which means Nikki Glaser supports fascism. That's the message we got off Jimmy Kimmel, right? You were supposed to cancel everything Disney, and now Nikki Glaser supports fascism. I'm joking, sort of. Nikki Glaser supports fascism by doing a deal with Hulu. She will tape a special supporting fascism at the fabulous Fox Theater in her hometown of St. Louis. No date on that one. Here's a question for Jessica Curson, who will be appearing at the Riyadh Comedy Festival. Jessica, when I Google your name, is this the headline you want? Because this is what comes up in Yahoo under Jessica Curson. Jessica Curson, comedian who performed at controversial Riyadh Comedy Festival, coming to Alabama in the spring. And then the subheader, a stand-up comic who took part in a comedy festival criticized for being held in a country with a spotty track record on human rights, will be coming to Alabama this spring. So Jessica, that's what you did. I hope the money was worth it. Out today, Marc Maron. Are we good? That is the Marc Maron documentary. Filmmaker Julie Seabaugh was on this very program last Sunday. Check that out. I feel a little bad for Julie and Mark, as this is going to get buried in the Riyadh of it all. The playlist.net says, for all its melancholy, the film is also surprisingly funny. Maron's stand-up remains laced with self-deprecating humor, which cuts just as deep as it consoles. He finds unexpected punchlines and bleak confessions, turning tragedy into a communal release valve. I've seen pretty good reviews on that. One of the questions coming up answered in the doc, is Marc Maron going to quit stand-up? David Cross said, he's like The Who. Didn't they have like 11 last tours ever? Which is true. I saw The Who's farewell tour at Giant Stadium in 1989. Check your calendars. Maron's tour was called This May Be the Last Time. John Mulaney is in disbelief at the title. He said, that's what he called his last tour? What an exhausting thing. What, he's going to get a boat and sail around Corsica or some crap? As if he's going to move to Vancouver and just be Marc Maron? That's an insane idea. I was thinking as I listened to that Maron Clip Show episode the other day, you know, Marc Maron has stylized himself, positioned himself as some sort of outsider. He's not. He may have been at some point. But as they were playing the clips were like Obama and Springsteen. And as he's taking this last lap here, Jamie Lee Curtis, Mark Hamill, Spike Lee, Jeremy Allen White, Ben Stiller, Bowen Yang, Seth Meyers, Mulaney, Sarah Silverman. You know, I'm cherry picking, mixed in here are some lesser known people, but, Mark's not some crazy outsider. He's more insider than I think he realizes.
Comedy stock market.
None of you figured out who the voice is on Comedy Stock Market. I'll tell you next week. I'll give you a hint. mustache, and Trans Am. Do you have it now? Go back and listen. Hit 30-second rewind. Go back and listen. I'll talk about that next week. All right, on the comedy stock market, if you're a new listener, every Friday, we make some picks. We bet on people and we sell on some people. This week's buys, David Cross. I salute you for your piece on your website, calling out the performers of the Riyadh Comedy Festival. Nice job. Let's buy some David Cross stock in support. Let's also buy some Atsuko Okatsuka for that same reason. She's the one who had the courage to share the contract. Who are we going to sell this week? We are selling Pete Davidson. His father killed on 9/11. Pete Davidson tonight at the Riyadh Comedy Festival. Hey, bro, if you're okay with it, I guess I'm okay with it, but I'm selling my Pete Davidson stock. I want no part of it. Sorry. And let's also short sell some stock. We're going to take some bets here that some other stocks are going to go down. Let's short sell Saturday Night Live. I think SNL 51 is going to be a bust, and specific to this weekend, I don't think they're up to the task. Bad Bunny is your host. That somewhat steers what the sketches are going to be, so you're going to get like a lot of Marcelo Hernandez doing that one thing Marcelo Hernandez does. He does it very well, but he does one thing, so you're going to get that. I don't know how many sketches realistically you can put Bad Bunny in. There's a certain moment in the universe right now. I don't know if SNL's up to the task. Happy to be wrong, but I'm going to short sell some SNL stock and make some quick profit when everybody else panic sells next week. And I'm also going to short sell Louis C.K. ahead of this Bill Burr thing. After hearing some recent Louis C.K. statements, I'm just not in the mood for the way C.K. is spinning this. This is kind of going back to, oh no, I'm the victim here. And again, CK at the Riyadh Comedy Festival combined with this. Oh yeah, so sorry women, but look what happened to me. I'm not buying it. So let's buy David Cross, let's buy Atsuko, let's sell Pete Davidson, let's short sell SNL, and let's short sell Louis C.K. That is your comedy stock market. This weekend in Chicago, Cameron Esposito, she is very funny. She's taking on the Theater in the Round at Steppenwolf's Ensemble Theater. It's the debut of her new one-person show, Feet. A year ago, Cameron underwent a minor medical procedure for a foot injury, but after extended antibiotic dosing to treat possible infection, she contracted C. diff, which is a secondary colonic infection that threatened her life. C. diff is no joke. I had a family member who suffered from C. diff. It is very, very, very hard to get rid of, very contagious. When I would go visit this person, I had to gown up. We're told the rapidly escalating events forced Cameron Esposito to meditate on her own mortality, which convinced her to have a child with her wife, Katie. Cameron said, I made peace with the whole rest of my life. It changed my perspective on what kind of spouse I want to be and what kind of child I want to be, but it also opened the door to wondering about what's next and if I'll have a chance to leave a legacy. Cameron said, when I was a young comic, especially as a queer comic, my biggest goal was for people to see that they could be cool and confident on stage. Now, I want people to know that while my story might be different, we all feel the same stuff. You stick around long enough and sometimes things come full circle. If you can't make it to the Riyadh Comedy Festival, hit the Birmingham Comedy Festival now in its 24th year. 5 comics will be competing for the Birmingham Comedy Festival Breaking Talent Award 2025. Organizers said 12,000 folks attended last year, and it is the UK's second longest running comedy and arts festival. Joe Lycett might be a name that Americans know. And that's your comedy news for today. The weekend will be quite robust. Again, if you're a new listener, Columbus Day weekend, Johnny Mac's taking his foot off the gas. I taped some stuff with some stories that I couldn't get to. Like, for example, I'm once again today, I have in my script, it says Vulture Letterman and a couple paragraphs. I cannot get to it. So that's the kind of stuff that when I pre-tape a weekend, that's the kind of stuff that I'll do. So I'm not saying they're garbage episodes, but they're not as timely. Whereas this weekend, I want to react to Saturday Night Live and whatever the CK thing is. Tomorrow, I want to talk about, there's a whole Jimmy Fallon thing we haven't gotten to. We didn't talk about Adam Sandler going on Letterman. So again, they're real episodes this weekend. And that's your comedy news for today. See you tomorrow.